to trend trade, but you have to understand that smaller time frames, they create the overall higher time frame, right? And the same case is when you have candles moving bullish, you have larger candles moving up, and then they're reaching some sort of a resistance. So we're going to use the same support as resistance here. We're reaching resistance and you're trying to sell. A lot of people do this, you know, like on Wednesday, I had someone taking sells on USD/JPY in Asian session when it was moving bullish, right? So when it's moving bullish and it's oh, I had 2 hours of REM sleep. So when it's moving bullish and you have resistance, your idea is correct to take a sell, but you have to wait because you never know, man. This candle can just continue moving up. This can or when the candles are bearish, these bearish candles can continue moving down. Like a lot of people here have faced that. Like when you're trying to take a buy, when the price is trending bearish, you're trying to take buys, you get fucked because candles just keep moving down and you're saying, oh man, what's happening? I moved my stop loss. This thing is still moving down. Like, when do I close? When did it stop? And when it's moving down, you start to panic because then you start to look left and you start to see imaginary supports, right? You start to see an imaginary support and you're like, okay, well, it's moving down. This is probably the support. And by the time price reaches this area, what happens? You have a massive push down and then the next candle starts to move up. That's happened to a lot of people here, right? That's happened to me too. It's very normal. Like it has happened, you know, because we're trying to call, this is what they call is that you're trying to call bottoms when price is moving down, that you're saying, okay, we've reached a bottom without price forming a bullish candle, or it's called calling tops, that when price is moving up, right? And you're saying that, okay, we've reached the top area, so now we're going to sell right over here when all candles are bullish. So you have to wait for candles to form bearish or bullish, like whatever you want, right? You have to wait for candles to form in your direction so that you can say, okay, now I have some sort of confirmation that candles are going to move my way. Make sense? So just don't take opposite trades when the candles are moving. Like it looks good that you had a wick entry, but it's not going to happen often. Right? It looks good for Instagram. It looks really good, but it's not going to happen often. Trust me. All right. What do we have here? Always look for potential areas of destination. Yep, exactly. So this means is that when you have price moving down, right, and you're looking at a support to the left, so that's your destination, right? This means that once price is moving down, now you have the opportunity to maybe take a trade till that support. Because think about it, right? Now, there's someone out there who is trying to take buys when price is moving down. So more often than not, those buys are going to get stopped out because the momentum, because the momentum is bearish and we're moving down, right? So when you're looking to see that, okay, wait a minute, so if we're moving down and there's a support over here, and there's strong bearish momentum, we are in New York and London overlap, there's a high chance that price is going to continue down to this support, right? So what do? You jump to the smaller time frames and you start to see that, okay, now when price is moving down, it's probably going to do something like this and then start to move down. So you're looking for many resistances to be formed, maybe on the 30-minute or 15-minute to see that, okay, now if, like, you know, you can say that, okay, maybe if a resistance is being formed somewhere over here, and then you can say that, okay, now we can probably have a stop above this area because the trend is bearish and we're selling resistance in a bearish market. So there's a higher chance that price is going to come down to this support. Makes sense? So that's what you say, okay, now we're trying to trade the trend. Because in the opposite spectrum, if you're trying to take buys, man, you're just counter trending right here when there's no confirmation, right? So always look at it this way. And in the opposite way, when price is moving up and you look left to see that, okay, there is some sort of a resistance here, and this is where price starts moving down. So there's a higher chance that price is going to continue moving up, and you look for the same things to happen, right? Sometimes price is going to do something like this and will move up, right? So if you are not looking for confirmations, you're going to look at this area and say, okay, now we're consolidating, so we're going to move down. But eventually what's going to happen is price is going to spike up and move up to where it wants to go, and then maybe it's going to form some sort of a confirmation to move down, right? How many times has this happened that when price is moving up, you take a sell, you get stopped out, and then you look at the chart after 2 hours and price has reached where it had to reach, and then it had fallen all the way down. This has probably happened a lot of times for a lot of people, right? It only happens because you did not wait for candles to move in your direction before taking the trade. Make sense? Makes sense. So it's always the probability that there's a higher probability that you will win a trade if you wait for candles to form in your direction. Now, what do big candles move in one direction? Oh, what do big candles moving in one direction mean? So this point means that, let's say that you come to the charts, right? You come to the charts, and what you see is that you had resistance and prices forming, and you have big candles moving, right? What does this mean? When you have big candles move and you missed that trade, that means those big candles were your trades, right? Most times what happens is that when we come to the New York session, we see big moves happen, right? These big moves happen in like London, like, you'll have either like a huge bearish trend happen, or you're going to have a huge bullish trend happen, right? What this means is that, okay, now these big moves happen, so maybe those were your trades. Those big candles are your trades. Small candles are not your trades. The small candles mean like, like there's less weakness. You have a candle like this, like, like what does this mean? Nothing. It's bullshit candle. You have a candle like this, nothing. So when you have candles forming like this, there's a higher chance that there's going to be another candle that's probably going to form like this. So this big candle is going to be your move. So whenever you're looking at charts, whenever you're trying to identify moves, always look at the big candles and always ask yourself, okay, how could I have taken this big candle trade, right? Always ask yourself that. That's what I do all the time. Whenever I see big candles, like you need to get some sort of a rush that, okay, man, like, you know what, next time I'm probably going to catch this big candle move, because that's your money trade. These big candles are your money trades right over here. Because now when you have big candles and you wait for trades to run, then you can afford to keep a stop at break even, because now you see, okay, now there's strong momentum, we have big candle moving, and the next candle is going to move down, and this and that and whatever you get. So always look to see, when you have big candles, how could you have taken the big candle moves? And if you miss the trades, that's totally fine, because you have missed the big candle move. So now what you're waiting for is to see that if price is going to form some sort of a support, and then you can turn around and say, okay, you know what? We have a support formed here because you have a bullish candles forming. So now probably the probability of price moving up is higher now, because we formed support after the strong move down, right? So big candles always mean that there was a huge push in the market, and that was the opportunity to make some money or to make some pips, whichever way you want to look at it as. And always look to see, how could you have taken that trade? Because once you make notes of how you could have taken that trade, and when the opportunity happens next time, you're going to be ready. Trust me on this. With practice, you're going to be ready, and you're going to say, okay, you know what? I've seen this happen, and I'm going to take this trade now, because I've seen this happen and this fucking works. Right? So, and it's all about probabilities, all about probabilities. Like, what's the probability that's going to happen more often than not? So let's go to the next point. So what to wait for once price reaches support resistance. We've talked about this numerous times. You're waiting for candles to form in your direction. If price reaches support, you're waiting for candles to form some sort of a bullish candle. So then at least you can say, okay, now at least I know where my stop loss is going to be. It's going to be below that candle. Or when it reaches resistance, you're saying, okay, now my stop loss is going to be above that candle, because at least now you know where your stop is going to be. Because once you know where your stop is going to be, you can say that, okay, now I can probably identify my risk based on your stop loss. All right, let's go. Our probabilities, we've talked a lot about probabilities here too. So now we're going to do the next example here. So, what's happening here? So we have this big candle here, right? Big candle move. Now let's say that we came to this chart, right? And we have this big candle move. So now you got to ask yourself that how could you have taken this trade, right? Basically, I think we've missed this trade. When we see a big candle, it basically means we've missed this trade, right? There's no trade, because if we would have taken a trade, this big candle was the trade. So now we're going to wait to see what happens next, or what the next candle prints, right? So now we have a bearish candle forming. What do we do here? So does this mean that the next candle is going to move up? Or is this a retest? Because this candle is bearish, right? So if we're looking for buys, we want some sort of a candle forming support, so we can say, okay, you know what? If this was a breakout of this resistance, then we need a bullish candle forming here, and then seeing that, okay, we formed support for us to move up, right? Because we are patient traders, we are all good traders, and we are waiting for confirmations, right? We're not trading for Instagram, we're trading to make money, right? We're trading for ourselves. That's what we're doing. That's the number one thing. You're not trading for Instagram. You're not trading to show off. You're trading to show off to yourself. So we're gonna wait. Now look what happened, right? We waited for the next candle. Now what will happen is that some people will try to take buys while this candle is moving up, but the key is that the candle has not closed, right? The candle has not closed. So look where it closed. It closed at this resistance. So what do? Nothing. You just wait. You just wait to see what the next candle is going to do, because this candle is obviously bullish, right? But it's closing below resistance. So if you're looking for buys, you're at resistance. But if you're looking for sells, the candle is not bearish, it's bullish. So you got to wait for the next candle. Let's see what happens. Now we have a bearish candle, right? So now a lot of people here in the chat, they're probably thinking that, okay, you know what? We've formed resistance, right? And this bearish candle, it closed below all these candles, right? And now if we keep a stop above here, we have a potential move down. So now where are we going to move till? We're probably going to move till this area down here, right? So what's the probability that price is going to continue moving down rather than it moving up and stopping us out over here? What's the probability? Now, some people, what they're going to do is they're probably going to keep a stop above here, or conservative people, what they're going to do is they're probably going to keep a stop above here. So now it's all about probabilities, right? Let's see what happens. There's a high probability that's going to continue moving down, then it's going to continue moving up, right? So let's see what happens on the next candle here. Look at this. We're still in this trade. We haven't stopped out. We haven't been stopped out, right? Because your condition of this trade is that as long as price stays below the high of this bearish candle, we should be continuing moving down, right? Most times what's going to happen is guys are probably going to take some percentage of the position off, because now you have a bullish candle, but you're still kind of waiting to see that, okay, you know what? It hasn't really broken above that area. So there is some sort of a chance that's going to continue moving down. Or, hey, maybe the next candle is going to stop us out. Let's see what happens next candle. Look what happened. The probability, it decreased and we got stopped out. You got stopped out because, hey, that was the probability of a trade not working out. Is that normal? Yeah, absolutely, it's normal. It's going to happen less times than it's not going to happen, which means that in this conditions, this will work out 60 to 70% of the time. And then obviously you're going to have those odds, those probabilities that it's not going to happen. So what do you do when you take a loss? You take this loss and you say, okay, you know what? This was the probability of me taking that loss, so it's all okay. It's all good, right? Because you followed your plan, you waited for prices to close, you had resistance, and then, you know, what happened? Maybe, like, you know, maybe this was a support, and then, like, you know, the probability wasn't there for it to go down yet. Right. So now let's see what happens on the next candles, and let's see if we can maybe do something. So let's look at the next candle here. Let's see how it prints. Oh, look. So, okay. Now, what does this mean? This probably means that, okay, now we're potentially heading down, right? We're potentially heading down because price, it tried to move up. Look at this wick here. What does this mean? Well, this means that price tried to move up, and then it looked left and it said, oh, Mr. Wick, You made a wick here for some reason. Okay, mate. So it moved down. It rejected that area. And then you had the next candle that tried to move up back in this zone, but it closed below all these candles to the left. Right? It closed below all these candles to the left. So what does this mean? Now there's a higher chance that we are going to move down than we're going to move up. Let's look at the next candles here. See this? We moved down, and where did we move till? We moved till this area, this wick area where we had highlighted, right? But the idea here was that, okay, obviously we had a confirmation here with this bearish candle, but the probability wasn't there for it to move down yet, right? And then once you were looking at the charts, you're waiting, you saw this candle move, break below than all these candles. So you can say, okay, you know what? We got the Mr. Gladiator here, which did what all these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles could not do. So now basically now we're trying to move down. Let's see the chart. So box and wait. Yeah, exactly. Box and wait. Box and wait. You're waiting for that one candle to break below or above than the previous candles. Let's see what happens next. Oh, okay, yeah. We continue to move down, right? So again, we had this big candle move. Big candle move means a lot of volume in the market, right? So you eventually caught the big candle move down. So when you caught this move down, it moved all the way down here to support. And when you're looking left, you see all these clusterfuck of candles. So you're saying, okay, you know what? Maybe price is going to have some issues here because you see this bullish candle, it rejected it. So now you place your stops at break even and you let the Forex gods do what they want to do with price. And what did they do? They kept moving down. And when price starts to move down, you're looking left to see the destination. Maybe the destination is down over here. Or if you're a conservative trader, maybe for you, the destination is down over here, right? Because you see that price stopped over here. It formed a bullish candle, but this bullish candle was very weak. Look at the body, man. This was very weak body. This does not mean we're going to move up. This was a very weak body candle. And the next candle, look at this candle. This is like that fucking golem from Lord of the Rings. Skinny candle doing nothing. No strength in moving up, right? So because you needed a strong bullish candle forming right over here, something like this. So you can say, okay, now we form support and we can keep a stop down here and we can, like, maybe move up. But this candle was weak, right? So you kept your stops at break even and you caught some pips and you're like, okay, you know what? We lost a trade, but then we eventually won a trade. Let's see the chat here. Don't worry about the time frame, just pay attention to what he's saying. Yeah, exactly. So it's this is just for the candles, This is just, let's say this is a 1 hour time frame or the 30-minute time frame. Let's put it that way. Because you're looking for strong confirmation. And strong confirmations happen on 30-minute and the 1 hour. All right, let's go to the next one. Okay, so what's happening over here, mate? All right. So what do we got here? We have, I'm going to use my arrows now. We had a strong bullish candle moving up. So let's say that you came to the charts right over here. You had a strong bullish candle moving up, and then you had this weak bullish candle that formed, which dictates that, okay, you know what, maybe bullish momentum is dying down. And then you have this weak bearish candle moving here. So now the trend is bullish, right? You have a bullish trend, but you have a bearish candle forming. And then you have a weak bullish candle forming. So does this tell us that we're moving up? No, I don't think so. I don't think we're moving up, right? Because now what we got to do is we got to wait for the next candle to close, right? So let's see what the next candle does. Oh, we have a bearish candle moving. So now, perfect. We have a bearish candle forming. So now some people are going to say, okay, you know what we're going to do? We're probably going to keep a stop loss above this candle and then take a sell to move all the way down, right? But what you're not looking at is when you're looking left, you see this potential area over here. So now this is the 1 hour chart or the 30-minute chart, right? You're looking to see that, okay, now these candles, they rejected a price level. There was some price level way over here. So they rejected this price. So this is an important price, right? So now when you're trying to take a sell, and your potential destination is down over here, man, this is nothing. This is like very risky trade here, because your risk is up here and your potential reward is down over here, or maybe down over here, right? But you're looking at this, yeah, whoever did that, so you're right. So this is probably an area of interest. So I would say we're just going to wait to see what price does, because this will be a very, very risky trade if you take a sell, because you have that resistance to the left-hand side. So let's see what happens next. We're going to wait for the next candle to close. There we go. Perfect. What's happening now? Right? Now you have a bullish candle forming on the 1 hour time frame or the 30-minute time frame. And then you can say, okay, now if your bias is bullish and you're saying that, okay, our bias is bullish, we had a bullish breakout candle from this area right over here. We had a bearish candle forming, and then we had another bearish candle forming, but now we have a bullish candle forming, right? So now this means that this is the 1 hour time frame, right? So now we have found support on the 1 hour time frame, and probability dictates that since we had big bull candles and we have found some sort of a support. So now probability is that if we keep a stop below this candle, there's a higher chance that the next candle is probably gonna continue moving up and break this mini resistance which is formed, because, like, you know, we are good traders. We are trading when there's volume in the market, and we're trading the New York and London overlap, right? Or we're trading in London. So when there's volume, support resistances get broken in trending markets, right? Never be afraid of that. So let's see what happens next. Perfect. You have a move up, right? See, you have a move up, and when you look left, this candle, it broke above this mini resistance, right? So this is your chance to put your stops at break even, right? Because once you have your stops at break even and you're waiting for the next candles, you have continued move up. Make sense? So basically, you just waited. You waited for candles, because, man, like, you know, some people are going to say, okay, well, why didn't it come all the way down here to do a retest? But that's just how the market flows. That's the ebbs and flows of the market, right? You just have to be fluid with it. You have to wait to see what the candles are doing, what the candles are printing, right? So let's go to our, see, so now we came up and then we start to move down, right? So that's why you had stops at break even. You took profit somewhere here, and then when price starts to move down, either you closed position, or, like, you know, okay, so let's take this for example here too, right? So since price is moving down, you see this mini resistance. So obviously you're probably might think that, okay, like, you know what, probably we're gonna start to move up from here. But the candle is bearish here, right? It's a bearish candle. So you want to look for another bullish candle to be formed right over here, which is not forming, but there we go. So you'd want a bullish candle to be formed here, saying, oh, we formed support here because we had fucking support over here too. So now we should start to move up, right? So you got to wait for those candles to form, but you did not get that bullish candle. You got all bearish candles. So there was no retest. So we're going to move to our last example now. All right, so what's happening here? We had a strong bullish candle, and then we had a weak bullish candle, and then when you come to the chart, you see this bearish candle, right? So now this bearish candle has no lower wick. What does this mean? This means that this candle created no range for the next candle to move down, right? So we're probably going to wait to see how the next candle forms, right? That's the basic idea. Now we're waiting to see how the next candle is going to form. Let's look at this. So perfect. We're moving down, right? We're moving down. This candle formed bearish, and now the idea was that next candle is going to go bullish, so we waited for the candle to form, but eventually this candle formed bearish. And now when we look left, what do we see? When we look left, we see that, okay, maybe this area is going to be some sort of an interesting area. So what are we going to do? We're going to wait for a candle to form bullish candle, because it's reaching this resistance area, resistance turns support. So we want to see if a support is going to be formed here. Because if we can see a support formed, we can say, okay, you know what? Now we can probably take a probability buy, right? So let's see how the next candle closes. We have another bearish candle. Do we enter now? Some guys are going to enter now saying, oh, look, the candle formed with no wick, so we're going to enter now and take a buy. But it's risky. Look what happened here. This candle had no wick, but the next candle went down. You know, it was the probability. So now you have to, so if you're looking for buys, you need to wait for a candle to form bullish. But you can't even take a sell here because you're at this very strong resistance turned support, you know, so you can't even take a sell because next candle can just move up or next candle can just move down. But if next candle moves down below this area, let's say, where's my arrow? Oh man, can't select my arrow. Yeah, below this area, then you know, okay, we're probably going to move down over here, right? Destination. So we're going to wait to see how this candle forms. There we go. We have this weak bearish candle. What do we do? So these, now you have to understand, these are 30-minute candles, right? These are 30-minute candles, man. So you're waiting. So what did you do? You waited 30 minutes. You waited another 30 minutes, 1 hour. You waited 1 hour, and then you waited another 30 minutes, 1.5 hours. So you waited 1.5 hours, and all you see is this bullshit mini bullish candle. Like, this means nothing. This is a write-off because look, price opened over here and it closed over here. There's nothing. See, so now again you're waiting to see what's happening next, right? Let's wait and see what happens. Let's go next. Nice. Now you have some sort of a bullish candle formed here, right? So probably you can say, okay, you know what, the bullish candle is forming, so maybe I'd want to wait for the next candle to form, right? Or if you are really taking, chances, you're probably saying that, okay, maybe I'm going to take a stop loss down over here, or you're going to wait for a more confirmation of a stronger candle to form. Perfect. This here is perfect. Now what you can see is that, okay, you know what? Maybe this makes much more sense. Maybe now we're trying to move up because now you have this strong bullish candle forming, and you can say that, okay, maybe now we're trying to move up. So now once you have this candle form, you can easily say that, okay, now what we can do is we can probably have a stop below here, or we can even have a stop below here and say that as long as price stays below this level, we should be moving up. Makes sense? Because the price made a high here. Remember we talked about this earlier. Price made a high here, and now it did a retest. So this is 2.5 hours into the session that you waited for price to form candles that you want to form. Right, so let's move to the next one. See, now it's time to move up. We moved up till this region, right? And since we moved to this region and we are good traders, we took profits and maybe we put stops at break even because we identified that, okay, price is moving into this resistance area, which is where it might have some issues, right? So you took profits, you put profits at break even, and you let it run. Let's see what happens. See, this is a golden trade now. All because you waited for confirmations, you waited for price to form some sort of a support, you waited for price to form some sort of a bullish candle, so you know where your stop loss is going to be. Because once you have a bearish candle, you don't know where your stop loss is going to be. Will it be down over here? Fuck that. That's a big stop loss, right? So you want a bullish candle forming, so you can say, okay, I'm going to have a stop loss down over here, man, because, you know, probability dictates that once bullish candles are formed on the 30-minute or the 1 hour, there's a high chance it's going to continue moving up. And let's see what happens. And then, you know, like, whatever, and then you got stopped out or whatever. And then now when you look left, you see the price came down to the same area, created this doji, created this bullish candle. So, like, you know, and then when you tried to take a buy over here, what happened? You got stopped because you're overtrading, right? And then you turn around and say, oh, hey, man, why did I get stopped out? And then the answer you're going to get is, well, you take one trade a day, keeps the stress away. So you took this trade in New York, London overlap, and then you tried to take another trade after London closed when the volume is dying, and what happened? Your trade died with it. Okay, so hope this helped some people, because I tried to keep it as simple as possible. So I'm gonna
find me.
All right, it's Ted. Okay, Ted raises hand.
I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Man, that was pretty good.
That was pretty good, Rico. It's like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.